make any sense. It's like the Moses story, you know. I mean, the guy parts the Red Sea for you, and then in a few years you're all going back to being heathens and making gold bulls again. There's no logic to the story. I mean, people are corrupt, and people are you know, capable of you know, being selfish and stupid in a lot of things, but you know, when a truth is made that obvious, there's just no way that people would betray, because they would be against their own interest. I mean, they basically had God proven to them. You know, they didn't require faith, because they had this demonstrated, you know, incredible demonstration of power and of authority, and there'd be no, you wouldn't betray that, you know, because for fear, fear for your own welfare, because you've basically it's been shown to you God is God, and you can't, you know, you don't mess with God if you know, you know, it's just, it wouldn't happen. People just wouldn't take that chance. They wouldn't, they just wouldn't cross that line. So anyway, spent a lot of time on religion. Didn't really want to do that, because it's, you know, outside of religion, there's so many interesting questions people have to ask themselves about what life is, and why are they here, what are they doing here. And you know, the first trap that people fall into is you know, they realize that even if they concede that yes, nature is why we're here, these crude forces that have created us, that are constantly guiding nature, so to speak, and you know, through these rough, crude rules, and so, you know, we're these animals. We're animals with intelligence. So if you can go that far, you know, in picking up the obvious, you know, out of the context of religion, it's, you know, that's not a huge leap to concede that simple truth. Okay, we're created by nature, that there wasn't any deliberate intent, just the force of nature that constantly allows matter to evolve, you know, from the simplest element of hydrogen, you know, to helium, to all these things created in the sun, all these elements, and then these compounds created out of the elements, and then eventually one of these compounds achieved the capacity to reproduce itself, and that was the first living creature. And then that creature was able to reproduce itself imperfectly, you know, without making exact copies. And so through time, and billions of years of time, 4 billion years of them, estimates are, that, you know, process, we became what we are, you know, our ancestors. And the, you know, the first humans, you know, weren't any. Let's say there was an animal we're going to qualify as genetically or physically human, and let's say that happened 2 million years ago. The you know, something. It's the curious fact is that it was intellectually or mentally, you know, physically, mentally, capable of being just as intelligent as we are, and yet because it didn't have a language and it didn't have a written reservoir of knowledge, you know, saved through history, it was an animal. I mean, without our culture, without the history we've preserved and the knowledge we've preserved outside of our own brains, we are animals. Obviously we have the same drives and reflexes, and you know, we are emotional beasts like many animals, We have inside of us programming that's very crude, defensive and protective. Obviously, we have hunger and thirst, the obvious ones, but we also have this concept of love and desire that's built into us for obvious reasons, like all other animals. But the incidental consequence of the fact that we did become this more intelligent beast, this animal with the language, this animal with a reservoir of knowledge, was we had a capacity to actually think and have a conversation like I'm having now, where we're reflecting on our very existence, not just what we want and how to get it. Instead of using our brain, our brain was originally made larger because it made us much better schemers. We were much better at getting what we needed. That made us both dangerous to other competing organisms, and whatever we chose to use to feed ourselves, eventually becoming carnivores, and because of the more protein, and you can feed more people on that kind of diet than you can on roots and bananas or leaves or whatever. So anyway, those we're psychologically still animals.